And as promised, I'm back with you. Same person, different program. Had a bit of a delay there because I was having a bit of a conversation via the phone. And it sort of distracted me because whereas I should have been getting prepared for voices, I was caught up in a conversation with an individual who was making some queries. And I tell you, it is hectic when you're working in a radio station, especially when you're wearing different hats. And, well, be that as it may. Now, I was interacting with an individual who I made a prior statement, and that individual called me and was trying to have a bit of a conversation, but they had not been properly informed as to what was said. So I will say this and this is what often happens, and this is why we as a people, instead of advancing, we retrogress. Instead of moving forward, we self destruct because either we're so caught up in party politics, party affiliation, so aligned with a party that we cannot listen carefully to words that are being said, especially when it deals with your particular party. You get all emotional, and so you convey from one person to another, but you don't convey the whole story. You convey, and I would like to think that you intentionally do that because I don't see why it would not be intentional. If you're listening, then listen carefully, and that is one thing I'm very good at. I try to be very good at. I listen. This morning I made a statement and I said it is alleged. Someone carries what I said to someone else, but they leave out the it is alleged. I even went further to say if it is not so, leave it alone. But if it is so, if it happens to be so, then one should take into consideration that moving forward as a leader, you have to make some changes. But the person who was supposed to have heard what I said and were trying to convey it did not have the intent of conveying what I said truthfully. Their intention, it seems, as often is the case, was to start something and create an issue. So they said they relayed, but they left out the it is alleged part. And so someone contacts me and they say, but you made that statement. And I said, yes, I made that statement. But before having made that statement, I said, it is alleged. And I further went on to say, if it is not so, then leave it alone. But if it is so, then as a leader, if this is true, if there's any truth in the alleged statement, then you need to make some changes. Now, does anyone with a rational mode of thinking see anything wrong with that? Why can't we as a people be open, really open to having a conversation? Why is it that we are supposed to be listening, but we don't listen with an ear of learning? We're listening, looking for issues. This is the problem. Stop listening to people looking for issues. Listen to people to try to understand what they're saying. When you're listening to someone looking for an issue, you will create the issue, and you will create an issue that was never there in the first place. I am saying, as I've said to anyone who chooses to interact with me, if you are in the political arena or you want to be in the political arena, there's a certain way that you must move to ascertain being in that position in a way that is beneficial to everyone. You cannot go into, or you should not, I don't say, you shouldn't say you cannot, because it seems as if most of the people do just that. They go into the political realm with their own ego, and they feel that their ego should never be challenged. And this is, I think this is one of the reasons why we don't get anywhere, why when the opposition becomes the incumbent, we don't see any real fruitful things, because they're going with an ego. They don't going with a plan. They don't go in thinking, okay, I'm open and I'm going to listen, and I'm going to see what I can negotiate from that. They're going with an ego. And when you, as a person who have not been in the advanced outer world, go into a situation with a potential investor with an ego, and that potential investor knows that you have not been in the realm of real business and you don't have the savvy of real business, they will quickly deflate your ego. And now that you're in the incumbent position and your ego has been deflated, you have no other recourse but to acquiesce to this investor, because this investor has shown you now that you did not come in with a plan, you came in with an ego, and this investor is better than you in every aspect of playing the real game. Okay? So that is what you have to deal with. So, again, if you have something to say, give me a call. If it is something that I can relate to, I will interact with you. If it is something I'm not too au fait with, I will let you just express yourself, and I will listen to you, and I will try to, from what you have expressed, get enough so that I can ask you further questions, so that I can be further enlightened, and so that the listening audience can be further enlightened. To Journey, if you're listening, you can call and you can feel free to express yourself until perhaps I see another caller and I will interact with them. Hello?
Good morning, Clint.
Good day.
Yeah.
Interesting that you're my first caller.
Yes. But I listened this morning.
Yes.
Didn't call in, but I listened. And I thought you were absolutely correct in challenging Mr. Pell.
Yes.
About the leadership of his party.
Yes.
Okay? You see, because leadership matters.
Leadership matters.
Yes, absolutely. We've had a lot of problems in the past, as you pointed out, dealing with investors. And, okay, we don't have to go very far back, although we could.
Yeah.
Because, you know, since independence, there's always been this problem. If you look at Douglas administration, for instance, Douglas himself is regarded as a very astute, very strong, very
savvy,
influential, savvy, knowledgeable, whatever word you want
to use, politician.
Yeah. But even under his administration, you had things like Christoph Harbour,
yes,
that deal with Christoph Harbour, that later turned sour.
Yes.
You had Kiddishan Hill, still in problem.
Yes.
You had La Valley Green.
Yeah.
Right? You had this house, the CBI was organized and managed.
Yeah.
Yes, it brought in money, but...
Mr. McMahon, hold a second there. Just hold a second.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get... Okay. I was trying to engage you because I don't want the phone lines to be ringing, and then they say we didn't try to. Yeah, but we lost that. Go ahead. Oh, before you go ahead, did you hear the part where I said it was alleged?
Yes.
Yes. And I even said to before that, I said, look, I am not challenging her because she's a woman, because when it comes to the mental level, I feel a woman is just as capable as any man when it comes to the mental capabilities. Did I not say that?
Right. Yes.
Yes. So go ahead.
Yes. Yeah.
I just
And that
wanted
should
you.
have been obvious.
I just wanted you to validate what I said, and I'm thankful
Yeah.
for that. Yes.
It should have been obvious that you weren't going after her because she was a woman. You're going after her because you heard instances of leadership qualities that were
Yes.
lacking,
That
okay,
that were
or
questionable.
deficient.
Yes.
Right, and you have every right. Every citizen have a right to question that.
Yeah.
But I was saying that even with leaders who are astute, they seem to have had problems with foreign investors.
Yes.
We've always heard here that they come in basically with no money and end up having to borrow our money.
Yeah.
You know, the CBI, like I said, made money, right? And the way it was operated was overlooked, which ended us in problems.
Yeah.
Harris administration came in, and it was the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like it went on steroids. Now this new administration is in, and you're still having the same problem.
Yeah.
You know, you had a chance with to change the Christopher Harbour narrative terms, and you opt instead to let foreign investors buy up, well, the marina, I think it was,
Yeah.
which essentially is buying our land.
That's it.
Okay, when you could have negotiated a different deal,
Most definitely.
right? You had the East Coast housing thing, where the man obviously had no money or track record, and these guys still fall for it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to wonder what it is about our leaders
Mm-hmm.
that make them fall for this. And now we're about to do the same thing with this framework for the sustainable, the special sustainable sustainability zone
Yes.
thing,
Yes.
right? It's as if we're not learning,
That's it.
right? And it all to bad leadership, you know. And you know what this stems from?
Hold a second there. Hello, caller.
Yes, Prince. I'm listening. I will listen.
Okay.
I will listen.
Okay, go ahead, Mr.
Yes.
McMahon.
Yes, I'm saying that it all boils down to a lack of vision, right? It's one thing to select a leader, but if that leader is not properly grounded, we're going to be in trouble,
Yes.
right? And so if you have all kinds of visions about highfalutin places and so on, it's all well and good to have it. But if you don't look at the consequences of going that way,
Yeah.
we will be in trouble.
We'll be in trouble.
And yes, and you see, a lot of people know things like ideology is out of fashion. Okay, you know, the thing with ideology is that it keeps you grounded. It keeps you conscious
Yes.
of who you are,
Yes.
right, and what the principles you stand for. If you are going to be falling for, well, what's new now, what the other person is doing, what you know, their path,
Yeah.
as opposed to charting one of your own, we will always have these kinds of problems.
But here's
Okay,
this, Mr.
Yeah.
McMahon. You asked the question, and I've asked it too. Why is it that our leaders, whenever they come in contact with these foreign investors, the foreign investors seem to be able to outmaneuver them? And that is why I made the statement I made just before you and I interacted today. Our leaders have egos. Now, we all have egos, but our leaders have an ego that is like this. Their ego is this. When I'm when I'm an incumbent, when I'm an opposition, I pretend to be something. But when I become an incumbent, I don't have to pretend, so I can be who I really am. When it comes to my people, because I am now the incumbent, you are my people, I am the leader, I dictate. And because of that kind of attitude that they have with their leaders, they have somehow misinformed themselves that that attitude can be taken into a boardroom with an investor. You cannot do that with an investor. You can talk down to your people all you want because you think you have them only until approaching the next 5 years. But when you
Right.
go into the ballroom or the boardroom with an investor, that investor has been out there in the world field. He knows how to play the game. He's going to call
Exactly.
your bluff.
He's seen it all,
That's it.
right? And worse than that, they come in with the impression that, well, these small island governments, they're just full of corrupt leaders,
Yeah,
right? We can play them.
we can play
It
them.
happens over and over and over again. And these guys just ain't getting it.
They ain't getting it.
They're just not getting. I listened to two programs yesterday, which I found instrumental in this thing. One was we were talking about the fact that a politician can make a phone call and make things happen.
Yeah.
Okay, and I caution that this could be abused.
Yes.
Okay,
Most definitely.
because and that is how corruption creeps in.
Yes.
Because you have to remember, if you're not going to deal with everybody on a fair basis, okay. And I know, yes, I was challenged on that, saying that, well, that's utopia. Okay, fine. All right. I know the tendency is for you to help your own, for you to to punish, how would they put it? Reward your friends and punish your enemies,
Yes.
kind of thing. I know there is a tendency to do that, right? But that should be tempered as far as possible, because when you do that,
I agree with
you
you.
are obviously disadvantaging somebody else.
Yes.
As
And,
far as possible, you're supposed to do things on merit.
and hear this
Okay.
too. Hear this too. We've seen this in life, and I'm going to let Greg interject soon. We've seen this in life. They say, reward your friends and punish your enemies. But here's what often happens. Those who you think are your friends aren't your really friends. And those who you think are your enemies aren't really your enemies. So
But the case that Greg and you were talking about with this down at Port Santi is
that's it.
perfect example of
Perfect example. Perfect example. You're so right.
perfect example of it.
Yes,
You
Greg.
know, you who you regard as your friends, they're your friends as long as you can help them.
They're opportunists.
Long,
Yeah.
when the table is turned, exactly. There's a lot of that going around.
Yeah.
But I was also saying that later on in the program, somebody called in to say, well, it's the system, okay? You have every right to, for instance, reward your friends or those supporters who you figure help you get into office,
Yeah.
right? That itself is creeping corruption.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and don't try to sanitize it by saying it's
Because you
sin.
shouldn't just help them because they help you. You should help them because they have merit. They have something to bring to the
Exactly,
table.
there's something to contribute
Yes.
to
Yes.
the country now. It's not to you,
Yes. Yeah.
because you're using public funds for this.
Yeah.
So it has to be some contribution to the country,
Yeah.
not a reward for the. you take your own money and reward them for
Yeah.
getting you in office,
Let's
but
let
not the public money.
let's let Greg, if you want to. Greg, you want to chime in now?
No, I'm listening.
Okay.
Let me continue.
Just want to be
Mm.
sure.
Well,
Yeah, let me I
The-
would like
the
to ask
other
my
thi-
question, though, but I would like to ask a question, but it's on a different
yeah,
subject.
sure.
But I would like to ask my question. But when he's
Different
ready,
subject?
when he's ready for the question, I would like to
okay.
ask.
Well,
I
okay.
will
Let me
continue
finish
then.
this. The other thing, the thing about that one phone call thing, the reason why we should discourage it, Quint.
Yes.
Quint, I can almost put my head on the block and say, you're not going to no politician to ask for no favor, because you can get things done on your own,
Yes.
right? And that should be the aim of every leader, to make people self-sufficient, to be
Yes.
able to stand on their own feet.
Yes.
I agree there are some vulnerable groups,
Yes.
that everybody is not going to be able to do it right away, but that should be the goal.
That should be the
And so you
goal,
should
to
not
strengthen
you
them.
should-
Yeah.
Right. You should not encourage that kind of dependency. All right? It really should not happen.
Because
and the
that,
second
beca- because that kind of
Uh-huh.
dependency puts a big burden on the coffers of the country over the long term.
not only that, it also feeds on itself,
Yes.
and things would never change.
Yeah.
That is, people going to feel that is the only way
They're going to feel
to get
entitled.
through in life.
Yeah.
Yes, you know. And the last thing that the other program that I listened to, I heard, well, it was a program in Nevis, and Cleon Stapleton, I've forgotten her thing, but anyway, Cleon, the NRP person who defected or whatever, I don't know if it's defection, actual defection, or he was now independent.
Yeah.
She essentially was saying that they were talking about the same sustainable, special sustainable zone, and she thought that it was being overblown, even though she agreed that we should have more information on it. And basically, she was saying that, well, we elect leaders, and they're supposed to lead. And I think that's a big mistake we keep making, why these things continue to happen. We don't elect leaders to lead anywhere they want.
That's it. That's
Okay?
it.
Right? It's not a carte blanche to do whatever
I agree.
you wish for 5 years.
I agree.
Right? You must also do things right. Okay? And you must not do things that you know are going to be irreversible. And if circumstances or if things go south, we're in a pickle. Okay? And that is why you should have more consultation, more inclusiveness, and so on. Right? You cannot, we don't elect you to do all kind of foolishness. Right? And I think that is one of the things that we have to get into our heads, that when we elect people, you don't just elect them and walk away.
Yeah.
And let them do whatever they like.
You're
for 5
crazy.
years.
You're crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. then.
History has shown, don't hang up because Greg
Uh-huh.
wants to ask you a question. History has
yeah.
shown that when you do that with people, even good politicians turn out horribly.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
because-
you know, it just grows on you.
Yeah.
It's the usual power corrupts, absolute power corrupts,
Corrupts,
absolutely.
absolute,
Yeah, just it happens all the time. Greg,
Yes. Huh?
Go ahead,
what's
Greg.
the question?
Yes. First of all, let's say greetings to everybody in Jesus' name, the only Savior of sinners, from the twins and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, Mark, there's a question I would like to ask. I don't think it has anything to do with this issue, at least in a direct way. Maybe indirectly, yes, but not in a direct way. Now, me and somebody, right, not too long ago was speaking about an issue, and the person brought up an issue, and I said, I would like to ask you the question. Now I get the opportunity. Did you remember back in the past? Well, you do remember, but I only use that as a rhetorical question. But, yes. In the past, you remember when the Douglas government had failed and was trying, as it appears to me, not to pay Dr. Simmons and Concy Douglas for monies that they
Consummation.
owed them.
Consummation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I do not remember the details about that. But Mark, what was really the details about that? Why he didn't want to do it, and what is your opinion? Do you think he was doing a right thing or a wrong thing?
If I recall, there was a delay in the payment of his pension.
Yes.
Okay. Generally, before you get your gratuity and those, before you get any payout from government, there is a check to make sure you don't owe the government anything.
Yes.
Right? And I think that was used. It can be corrected, but I think that was used to delay the payment of what was owing to them. and there's no question in my mind that that was wrong. Okay, if that's how it went, it was absolutely wrong. As a matter of fact, I remember it sounded as if somebody had to even bring it to the attention of the colleagues of Douglas in the sub-region.
Yes.
That this
yes.
is happening.
That did happen.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it should not have come to that. You know, you don't do things like that, right? And you have to question the judgment of a leader who does things like that,
and
regardless of what, because regardless of what would have happened in the past, you might feel it's revenge, it's sweet revenge. You're being but you're being vindictive.
You're being vindictive.
And anytime you have a leader who is vindictive, that is a problem.
And this, Mr. McMahon, goes into what you were saying before when you said this other individual was saying you elect them to lead, so let them lead. You just can't let them lead carte blanche and do anything.
Not in our system where the prime minister have so much power.
Yeah.
And the checks and balances that are there don't appear to work, or the people who are in charge of them have no stomach to do the right thing, or they just don't have the courage to do what is right.
Yeah.
You know, it's far easier to go with the flow than to buck the trend.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. But Greg, why did you ask that though?
No, because you know the question of leadership come up and that sort of stuff, and this seemed as though this was a very bad thing if what I heard was true. But not only that, I also heard that Dr. Simmons also almost lost his house because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've heard that story. And by the way, that story on Port Zante, I noticed that you were putting it essentially on the press. I don't know if there was in fact a court case, right?
There was in fact a court case.
No, I'm saying if in fact there was a court case on this matter, and one lost and one won it.
Succeeded, yeah.
Well, first of all, if the story is as told that it was done, the transaction was done that way because they want to be an avoidance of conflict of interest, and
yes.
so you pass it on to your friend, kind of thing. To me, that's straight out corruption, anyway.
Yes.
But still, if that is the case, you essentially have two very embittered people.
Yeah.
Okay, and they can be approached by the press for comment on it. If you want to comment, fine. But you certainly can get some kind of idea of what happened.
Yeah, I agree.
Despite the court case, because really and truly, I don't see how somebody, unless they had paperwork to say that that is what went down.
Yeah.
How the person who actually paid for it could have owned it.
Yeah.
Right.
And Mr. McMahon, I think Greg asked you that question because he respects your opinion.
Yes, of course.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take that.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yeah, but it's interesting too with that sustainable, special sustainable zone thing. The idea of not appearing to be conflict of interest is one of the reasons people are speculating that the premier ceded the decision
Authority.
of the authority to the federal government.
Yeah.
That is so closely aligned to whatever is supposed to be happening there. That right. Okay. So you see how it's all tied in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate that our leaders all seem to opt for the same route. That is the amazing thing. They all seem to do the same thing, and we all have to end up choosing between a set of bad people with bad judgment or corrupt people. It's really unfortunate that that's where we're at, to be quite honest.
I agree with you. Yeah.
But
all right.
Concerning this building issue at Port Zante, you know, after a while, after my last call to Quint in the previous program, so a thought came to mind, and I said, you know what? I'm very disappointed that Team Unity never addressed this matter of that, if it is true, would have been a very serious case of corruption.
An issue, yes.
But why?
And we've said that, Quint and I have said that already. The opposition seem to be letting things like these pass without taking advantage of them.
And
With
you,
very
Mr.
question,
McMahon,
will they do-
and you, Mr. McMahon, further state, and I agree with you, they don't do anything because they intend to do the same old, same old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to be their turn, so to speak, right? That is why, you know, we should be really careful when we go to the polls next time.
Yeah.
And ask tough questions, you know, make our ideas known, because that's the other thing too, you know. Generally speaking, people are more informed now than they were before. Yes, there are a lot of people who don't pay attention still. There are a lot of people who just enjoying the circus.
Yeah.
And you know, as long as they're not directly
Involved.
affected.
Yeah.
You know. But I think there are a lot more people who are now paying attention, see what's going on,
Yeah.
see how things are operating, and realize that, hey, there's a lot of things I don't know. There are a lot of things that are operating that are not above board. Okay, I may not know the details, but we know there's a backstory, and I suspect they're going to be more inquisitive. People are less not going to get a free pass on things like this. So
Yeah.
I think whereas in the past politicians depended on the fact that people were not interested in the details of things or you know, as long as it didn't directly, they were just interested in bread and butter
Yes.
issues,
Yes.
and they didn't make the connection of
How it
corruption
affects them.
with their bread and butter.
Yes.
You know, but I think that will eventually change.
And I think
But
so
it's
too.
really unfortunate. It's really bad that the opposition has not taken advantage of. Actually, don't you know? What's her name? Daniel Hodge.
Yes.
Dr. Daniel Hodge. She has been very vocal on the issue. Okay, and I don't know if she's going to use this to make her presence felt on the national stage.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I feel that she should actually come down and talk to this lame opposition that we have down here.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? And try to galvanize, to make people, to sensitize people to the issue.
Yeah.
Don't let this happen and then we wonder how it happened.
Yeah.
Okay? Make sure people are involved. And make sure that, okay, if you're going to have a framework for this kind of development, that it is what the people want. There are some issues that you do not leave to the leadership, the current leadership, because they are transformational issues.
Yeah.
All right? These are issues that you go to an electorate and say, this is my vision for St. Kitts and Nevis. I want you to buy into it. I want you to elect me because I am going to deliver it for you, right? You don't go and sell out large tracts of land and, you know, to a whole lot of rich, and I don't want to inject race, but that's usually how it ends up.
Well,
Okay.
it is as it is what it is.
Well, okay, and then you wonder how our country became like this,
Yeah.
right? You know, if the people want that, fine. If the people want a lot of gated communities like in Miami, that's fine. If they want a lot of rich people living in their enclave and you can't go in there and they have their own everything, if that's what the people want, fine. But I suspect that is not what the people want. Most people are going to want, bearing in mind our attachment to the land.
I remember that the caller I was reacting with from Pam, and he was placing a lot of emphasis on the size of our land. And so if I'm going to follow his way of conversing, then I would say we are too small a land to encourage that kind of a thing.
Of course, and making comparisons with Canada.
You understand? Because Canada is so
Independent
big.
land.
Canada is so big that it's not even the population of Canada is minute compared to the massive land.
That's apples and oranges. just like trying to say that we should try to become another Dubai.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Dubai is 31 or 32,000
Yeah.
square
Square
miles.
Yeah.
Not Dubai. The United Arab Emirates.
United
Dubai
Arab
is just a small part
yeah,
of that.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas we are just over 100 square miles.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're gonna take a large chunks of it and put it
Into
out
gated
there for-
things? No,
No,
man.
no.
No.
Come on, man.
Quinn,
No. Yeah. Hello.
yes. I remember some time ago when I was working at Inland Revenue, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a map in a certain person office of lands in St. Kitts that were occupied, that were inhabited, and lands that were not.
Yes.
And in my mind, I tried to put together the lands that were inhabited versus the lands that were not.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, I came up, in my mind, it looked to me like 10% at the most of the land in St. Kitts were inhabited,
Yeah.
while about maybe 90% were not inhabited.
Yeah.
Now, I probably might train a few extra for lands that are owned by people that are not inhabited, so let me bring it up to maybe 20% of lands are under the ownership of people, inhabited and not, and lands that are just their government lands.
Yeah.
Now, what I was thinking, I'm still thinking about now, I say, so this is a good time for the government to share up its land to families in St. Kitts who need land. Because when investors come in and that sort of stuff, and I'm all for investors coming, I'm all for that, but I'm first for Kittitians having land. So that when the investors come in even in greater number, because they're already here, but even in greater number, Kittitians would have land, and they would always, as a result, be the head and not the tail. Because who own land would be at the head.
Yeah.
Who
And-
don't own would be at the tail.
I agree. I agree that might be a good way to go, but even that you have to be careful with,
Yeah.
because what can possibly happen there is that those same families can be swan-songed into, can be persuaded
Yeah.
to sell their land, okay, and you can still end up in the same situation.
Because that is kind of what is happening over there on Nevis. They're trying to,
right now.
Yeah.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
But Quinn,
Right. So you got to be careful.
Go
You
ahead,
got to be
Greg.
careful with that.
Go ahead, Greg.
let me say this. Look here. If the land remain in government hand, it's going to end up in foreigners' hand. Okay?
Yeah.
It's going to. No, maybe not, if not, but
Greg,
it's going
we're
to
not
end up in foreigners' hand.
Greg, we're not disagreeing with you. But the question is, though, I agree with you, and I'm sure Mr. McMahon also. But the question McMahon is putting forward is, how do we educate our population to the extent where they not only own the land, but pass on to posterity the knowledge of the importance of keeping title to that land. That is the
Right.
question.
Exactly. Because
program like yours.
remember, Greg.
You
Greg.
don't think that your program, right now what you're saying, is opening eyes? I think
Partly,
so.
yeah, and we need
Yes,
more
a
of that.
program like yours, the church supposed to be doing it, is duty in this as well, supposed to be.
Yeah,
And government, if they really care about the people, they as well will use the bully pulpit to tell the people, hey, I'm giving you land, do not go sell your land to people. Don't be doing, and continually drilling it in the people's head from the bully pulpit.
yeah,
These
Well,
things can be done
but Greg,
to open up people eyes. And not only that, but I think people more and more these days are coming to even see the importance of land now.
well,
There are many
yeah, but
avenues that
Greg,
should be
you have to remember, right, that a lot of this depends on government policy. Just like how, for instance, there was a policy, or I'm not sure if it's a policy here. I know, for instance, in Barbados, there was a policy. There was an intent that every family should have at least one graduate in it. Now, that's a noble goal, right? Okay, and you should effect policies to make sure that that happens. Similarly here, there should be some kind of policy that every family, at least at the outset, get a chance to own piece of the rock. But that is not what you're finding.
Yeah.
You're finding a lot of basically people who own land get other pieces, and greed takes over. Yeah. And that is what we don't want.
And what we
want, at least from the outset, that every family, I won't go as far as to say every single citizen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
but every family owns something, a piece of the rock.
And what we have been seeing from the political aspect is they only want to give you some land if it is tied into expanding their constituency. Yeah. So and you notice, Mr. McMahon and Greg, that those lands are getting smaller and smaller. Those pieces of land, the
smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And though a small piece of land by itself is not much. You can't do much with it.
Yeah.
Apart from building a house, and in other words, there's less possibilities for some kind of economic activity.
Yes.
On the land. So that in itself is a policy that should be revisited.
Yes.
And worse yet, you have this thing about because of what you said just now, Quinn, where they're using it to get votes, giving several people the same lot of land and that kind of nonsense.
That's another thing that we've seen.
I mean, how could that happen? You know.
Yeah.
It's amazing the foolishness that goes on here, and still go on even to this day.
Yeah.
Right on the altar of politics.
There's so much we have to
and the system and the system. That is what irks me.
There's so much that we have to scrutinize. Right? Yeah. I'm going to take a bit of a commercial break. Yeah.
Okay then.
Okay. And if anything, and as we go along, you want to call. We're fast approaching the end of the first hour. I'm still listening to hear if Journey would call in, or perhaps maybe he was not on the job when he called in earlier, and perhaps he's on the job now. I don't know, but I'll be open to if Journey wants to call in at any time and interact. In the meantime, I'm going to take this bit of a commercial break, and I'll be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
More than 42 million cars from 19 different car companies are being recalled for faulty airbag inflators. Repairs are fast, easy, and free. The problem isn't with the airbag, it's with the airbag inflator. Because the inflator can rupture, shooting shrapnel through the airbag, which can cause serious injury or even death. Don't risk it, fix it.
Please contact TDC Automotive Division to find out if your Toyota vehicle is affected by the Takata airbag recall. Visit or call us at 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis.
And I'm back with you. The time is, let me see, 4 minutes moving up to the 11 o'clock hour. You're listening to Voices. And if there's anything that you want to put out there, is there any expression you want to make? Okay, let me go straight to the phone lines. Hello, good day.
Yes, good morning again, Quint.
Okay, welcome. I was hoping that you got in. So you can run while now.
Yeah. All right, Quint. I want to stress on the word fear and the
Yes.
system. Now, fear, in my opinion, or my inner knowing, inner standing of this word fear, and I would break it down to false evidence appearing real. Now, on many levels, Quint, we are being controlled by fear of a system, and this system is run by those who are in control of what I would say this world. This is their world. Now, on many different spheres, we are being controlled by fear, religiously, educationally, politically. Now let us go to religion that they gave us, Quint, in this Bible. Adam and Eve was placed in a garden and they were passive under fear. If you touch or eat, you shall die. Quint, we have to move away from this fear. Today, the system that governs and controls all of this fear through chaos, that system is powerful, and they are controlling us by fear, even if you want to bring it down to the fear of the gun. Because, Quint, make no mistake, the subtlety of these people that are controlling the system, they know that it is about survival. It's either them or us. I mean, I'm talking about black African man, woman, and child. Now, I can also broaden it to the Indian, the Caucasian, the Asian, the Chinese, the Taiwanese, and all of them. But when I look at those people in their space, Quint, they are progressing.
Yeah.
Why are we being submissive? Because we are going along with a system to get along.
Yeah.
Quint, this is deep and it is saddening. It is so hurting to see that today we cannot recognize all the hint that they have given us from 2019 up until now. Because I said, Quint, what I took from COVID-19, when all that transpired, the messages to us. Because, Quint, make no mistake, we are one people connected by DNA. Let me repeat this, Quint. We are connected by DNA. And the system knows that because in my knowing, the virus was created for the vaccine. Now today we are moving to all kind of different type of identification, whether it is an electronic ID that they pass in the house, or it's going to be a chip implant. Because while they roll out to us, the question we need to ask, did they come to us to discuss this digital ID? Quint, we have to move away from their narrative and their agenda because it's either them or us.
But Journey, I hear what you're saying, but it doesn't have to be that way, you know. It could be all of us. But here's where I agree with you. From their mindset, that's the way they have it. It's either them or us. But if you look at us as an African people, right, we've never felt that it was either them or us. We have always felt like the world is there for everybody. But they feel like it is either them or us. They're the one who feel that way.
I know this, Quint. I know that. But you see now, we also have to recognize we are the orality of all that existed. We are the orality of all that have existed. Now, we can question as how we come to be submissive. I mean, they came into our space, Clint, and that's why I say we are being controlled. Because religion is controlling us. It has taken us away from who we are. And because we don't know, we have to go by what they wrote in a book. And all the information is within us, Clint. All we have to do is to go within, because, like I said before, all that they're giving us is external. We are worshiping a God in the sky in a book, and we don't recognize. And the book is hinting, know ye not that ye are gods. But yet we are ascribing to a single deity out there, when we are the gods and goddesses of all the orality, everything that we know. Now, how are we going to deal with them conquering us and overpowered us and are controlling us to their queen? We have to become knowledgeable of those who were before us. Now, we are not warlike, Quint. We are here to nurture nature and to be in harmony with nature. Look at their footprint. They are against nature.
Recently, I think it was yesterday, I'm not too sure, but I think yesterday I went over, and I think it was yesterday, but the way I live, sometimes I don't even remember how yesterday was, because I'm not the kind of person who is caught up in all kind of, the things that everyday people want to be, because it has no real consequence. But then I was over with my aunt, one of my aunts, and we were watching the television, and we were watching a program called African Village Life, right? And it was so amazing to see that, because we're talking about in present day, 2025, and when you watch that, it's not that is the way. There are African places, there are places in Africa that are metropolitan, and when you go there, you can't be. But this African village that I'm speaking about is almost like the way how it was when when I was growing up, right? With trash houses, some of them are now getting galvanized, and they still have pit boreholes and that kind of stuff. But when you see how they live, Journey, and I'm saying to me and my aunt are saying, wow, this is showing you that these people there, you will call them poor, but Journey, they are happy.
Well, you see, Quint, there are many indigenous people on the continent of Africa, and they have nothing, Quint, yet they have everything.
They have everything.
They have nothing, yet they have everything, because they are aligned with nature. Now, these are people who never heard of a God. Now, let us look at the father of faith. The father of faith that we were indoctrinated into, Abraham. Abraham was called from his area, from his place where he grew up with his father. But, are we really looking at how they're using words? They never tell us where God called Abraham, because God realized Abraham was an upright man. But nothing was done to Abraham's genealogy. Abraham's father's father. They were in their space, and they never knew of this God until God saw he was upright. Are we looking at time, space? When these people when they multiply in their space, whatever they was doing, was this God present at that time, seeing the omnipresent God was seeing on earth that these people, Abraham, generations before Abraham, what were they doing until God recognized that Abraham was upright? Quint, I sometimes say they're just sprat to catch a whale, and we swallowed everything hook, line, and sinker. It's high time we wake up from their misery. We got to wake up from it, Quint, because we are being controlled by fear.
But you see, Journey, I hear you, but it's not. It's a kind of a hard thing, I agree we have to, but when we're caught up in this materialistic world where it is all about uh, you turn on your television or you take your phone as Burl was saying earlier and you're bombarded with all of these commercials, it puts you in a mindset where you're almost not living in the real world. You're living in this world that they created. And in this world that they created, you are a commodity that is supposed to just consume. How do we tell our people that you're almost been placed into a robotic state where you're just reacting instead of innovating? I try, but you know, and especially when you try to go to the biblical aspect, there are those who feel like don't touch the religious aspect. That is a no-no. But that is where we need to go. This is why I agree with you, because that is one of the main things that is keeping us further in captivity. But how do you tell a people who have been brainwashed for over 400 years that the system is set to keep you in an oppressed position?
But not only that, Quint. Everything that we know or what we were indoctrinated into is a lie. Because again, Quint, we were traumatized, we were interrupted, and we were traumatized, and the trauma is deep. You're asking, how do we? We can only survive this once we become knowledgeable. Because, Quint, now, Jesus had his genealogy. Now, here we have a God that chose a people he called the Israelites. But the universe is diverse, Quint. And again, we have to understand that we are the orality of all that have been manifest in the human aspect. We are the orality of all of that. So, for them to come and take us away, and then for those in the Christian faith who have converted to whether it is Muslim, Buddha, Christianity, don't we have an identity? If we are the first, how can we give up what was to become something else? And for those who are going to say, oh, Christianity was here or there in Africa, yes, in Ethiopia, we are the orality. So you see, we have to go back. Because, Quint, have you ever asked yourself why you can't remember when the day you were born?
When what?
Have you ever asked yourself that question?
When what?
Have you ever asked yourself why you cannot remember the day you were born?
No, I've never asked myself that.
Okay, you need to think of it. I mean, we may never know, and I'm including myself, because, Quint, I can't say I know the day I was born. But the book tells us that God created Adam. Was Adam created a grown man? These are things we have overlooked.
But you see,
now, let me come briefly to.
But you see, Journey, we've got to be. This is why I said to you, and I'll reiterate that when you come with these topics, break them down into bits and pieces, because this is a deep, deep, deep issue. This is an issue that no 10 broadcast. We cannot discuss this in. It will take a long time. But what we can do is bring it in bits and pieces that are palatable, that people can understand, because we don't want to bore them too, because when they get bored, they tune out. You understand? So what I want you to do is to break it down into little pieces so that when we come, we can have a discussion, just like you see I had a discussion with Mark Mahan and what's his name for a period, and then next time when you call in, we take another piece, and because this is too big a issue. This is 400 years of brainwashing and oppression cannot be done away with overnight.
Yeah, I agree. But Quint, let me just say quickly about agriculture, right? Now, here, I wanted to if I had got the opportunity, the Prime Minister was on Juni station a couple of weeks ago, talking about his trip to Nigeria. Now here we have the continent of Africa that have all kind of organic seed for agriculture. And let me say this, Quint, there is no culture outside of agriculture. There's no culture outside of agriculture. We have the Prime Minister been to Nigeria, and the continent have, although the philanthropists that are pushing GMO, the continent have all kind of organic seeds. You look at what we have here today, Quint. You go to the market, there's some the whitehead herbs, our sweet peppers, the tomatoes, all of these things that does not reproduce. But the Prime Minister went to Nigeria, and my question would have been to him, was agriculture a part of that trip to Nigeria, where we can have seeds from the continent and bring here for food preparation, Quint?
Yeah.
I made 19 attempts on Juni station that Thursday when he was with him, but I didn't get through. And these are the questions. I want the Prime Minister, if he's going back, he said he's going back to, I think he's either Ghana or maybe Nigeria. I'm not sure. In the future, he's going back to the continent. I want him to take me with him. Because I think the wrong people are going. I mean, this is serious, Quint. Our future depends on our connectivity back to the continent. Quint, I'll stay here for now and let some other person comment.
Okay, so thank you for your interaction, and I know that you're passionate about your what you bring forward, and I myself too am passionate. So we can engage on different occasions and break it down in bits and pieces. Okay, thanks again for your input, and I'm glad that you were able to get in and interact. Hello, caller.
Hi, good morning, Quint.
Good day, Africa.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm in and out of the program because I listened to some of the morning tea and then the crossover. And I have been trying to call in on the very vexing issue of the land dispute amongst our people who have been deprived of, especially on St. Kitts, as opposed to on Nevis, and then Nevis's end, they probably asking to give up their lands for national purposes, what we call like
sustainable
purposes and so forth, for the care of sustainability under that pretense. And let's deal with synthesis then, because whereas the sugar industry has already went out in Nevis and they were empowered with lands and family, parents has given up some half acre or whatsoever to their siblings and so forth, and they were empowered. That is why Nevis has become the breadbasket of the two islands, because whereas we were still into the sugar industry, Nevis's land was dispersed for other alternative crops. But if you think it's now an our development, and it is obvious in front of the Social Security building in Bastille, down on the Bay Road, and it has become more obvious now in Frigate Bay, where I think it is not as tasty as it used to be. And we are losing our taste, we are losing our ambience, we are losing our beauty in terms of quote-unquote development and the way we are developing. It's like we are blindfolded and development is taking place, whereas like persons would have wondered how like St. Martin would have become because of development or overdevelopment or lack thereof, and what St. Martin has become as to what St. Kitts has become in terms of the development.
But you
We are
see,
seeing some artwork and we're seeing some foundation that has been done now, where Dwyer Astafan he did a commentary on a piece of land adjacent to the golf course.
yeah.
That is being developed now. The remedial work, the foundation, laying the foundation, that part of it has been carried out. And it's hurting. It's really hurting. It is hurting to see that we are losing the beauty of our
But
beautiful.
here this Africa. You keep using the word development, and I don't disagree to some extent with using the word. But here's the problem, and this is what has happened. Why Europe has to be trying to bleed everything out of Africa to sustain itself, because Europe put emphasis on development without thinking about sustainable development. They're thinking about development, but at the cost of destroying the planet, the very planet you live on. How can you think about development and that development destroys the planet that you live on? For instance, a perfect example, they went and they cut down trees like crazy, and then they found out the relevance of trees to humanity, which they knew. So that is what I'm saying.
And that is why I listen to you and some sustainable gentleman, young guy, who came on the radio and he was making the case for the plastics and the lack thereof and why should we. When Europe knew all along that this would become, yes, they're sending in their things in packages with plastic. But they are saying to the other little islands, do away with the plastics because it's becoming a problem. And if you do an analysis, just like how an analysis has been done in terms of the greenhouse gases and the greenhouse emissions, where Guyana has made a good case.
Yeah.
Where we doesn't emit, but we absorb. We absorb of what you emit in heavy industrialized countries.
Yeah.
We absorb what you emit.
It affects
and yet
all of
we
us.
doesn't get the benefits of what we absorb from your emissions. You meant to say something?
No, I was just saying that that we get, as you just said, we get the negative benefits. I mean, the negative aspect, while they reap the so-called financial benefit, but the whole world suffers.
Yeah. So here is it. You do the mess, but the little ones have to clean up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like we are considered to be third world status. You
And
know
you-
what I mean?
and
You're in
you-
the fourth
and-
world status.
And you see how they do it? You see how they outsmart us in every aspect? Here's the point you made, which is a great point. They're the ones who are contaminating the planet Earth. But instead, you realize that they had a meeting recently and it fell apart and they didn't come to an agreement that they should ban it, they should discontinue the use of plastic. You're aware of that, right?
Not quite that one there. I may not know what way trying to follow your train of thought. But I remember Mayor Motley made a case. Mayor Motley made a case for when she attended one of those summits.
I'm speaking about the developed world, China, Russia, America, all of them coming together and trying to decide, they say, to discontinue the use of plastic. Well, recently, and I'm speaking about just a week, 2 weeks ago, everything fell apart. They couldn't come to an agreement.
Okay.
The oil producing nation decided they're not going to discontinue what they're doing.
Okay.
And the rest of the world still depends massively on fossil fuel. So I said that to strengthen the point you were making. Here is it. They're contaminating the planet. They're putting on us, and this is where they're outsmarting us every time. Instead, we decide, you know what? we're going to take your funding and we're going to use that funding to make sure that we better pick up our garbage and better make better places to dispose of our garbage. Rather than doing that, we decide we're just going to eliminate plastic, but they have not decided that. So when they come and they tell us, there are countries around the world, do you know there are countries around the world who have decided to discontinue using plastic? That is not the whole truth. There are some who have been trying, but the majority of them, they are not even budging.
Yeah. I want to divert a little bit into a point you made there, and I agree with the point you made. Earlier, I listened to the journey, and because I have children, I'm going to take it from that perspective. There are times when they, like any other parent would have experienced it, where the child was really, it's a test, it's what parents, we as parents, is what we will have to go through and so forth. But I want to broaden that horizon of a parent. You see, me being a parent of 3 daughters and 2 grandchildren, and there were times personally when myself as a parent, would have mean well towards my daughter or my daughters, and because of where they are on their journey as children, they may not understand the parent-child relationship and where the hierarchical order of a parent and child, and the respect and the homage for the parent, bearing in mind the parent must always acknowledge that I have a child or children and needs to exert that parenting to a respectful level where the child may not be slighted by a parent in terms of parent can be irrational and those other things. A parent-child relationship is like how the nations are today. Some nations are children to some nations who are parents. I say that to say because you made the point there where the them versus us. We African people don't see ourselves to the other nations as like them, we versus against them.
No.
Because we know we provided for our children. Even though our children doesn't see it because they are immature, they have not come to that stage, or they just want to be eroded out of the parent blessing on the child.
Yeah, they're caught up.
They will behave in ways that, it's unbecoming of a child.
They're caught up in their emotions, as they would say, they're caught up in their feelings.
Yes, and so you see how Europe, they're trying to exert and grab all the spoils of the earth and feel like they're the ones to disperse it, and who to feed and who not to feed, and who to starve and who not to kill, and who to kill and the like. The world order as it is. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay, hold a minute.
I know that we are parents of the earth. Like I always said, lightning doesn't strike twice. Lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice.
Africa, hold a second. I'm going to play a clip. It's very short, but it ties into what we are saying right now, right? Listen to this, because we have never felt that it was us against them. It is they who feel it is them against us. Listen to this clip.
I would say I am really, really proud of my ancestors. I've traveled the world as a black man, and I have never seen a black country where the people who live in it are foreigners that were brought there by blacks as slaves, not one single country. Yet the black race has more countries on earth than any other country. 54 are on the continent, 13 black countries in the Caribbean, so 68 black countries. There's not a single black country where slaves were bought from outside by black people. I've traveled the world, not a single country in the world colonized by a black country. There's nowhere you go on Mother Earth where the language they are speaking was imposed on them by force by a black country. I've traveled the world and I've never seen a religion that is imposed upon anybody anywhere in this world by a black country. The 68 black countries in the world, the largest continent by number of countries, not a single one of them has a nuclear weapon of mass destruction. Black countries across the world, none of them is responsible for what we call the military complex, where we are manufacturing dirty bombs and sending things into the water to pollute people. I've traveled the world and I'm yet to see one product that was forced to be sold in another country by a black country. So it means the black race is the only race on earth that represents what the United Nations have been looking for the last 100 years, peace. Yes, we fought internal wars just like anybody, and that is all we did. Therefore, in my travels, there was no place I went on earth where the people there pointed fingers at me and say, your people did this to me. Never. The black person is the only one who travels this earth and no one who point a finger. That's what my ancestors left behind.
You heard that, Africa?
Yes, I know that. And apart from,
So it has
I mean,
never been,
that's
it has
resonant.
It has never been, we've never felt it was us against them. It is they who have that
No.
concept. You heard what
Yes,
he said? He's
right.
traveled the
Because-
world and he's never met any place colonialized, victimized, impose a language, by a black people.
Prince,
Yeah.
look at what, let's say, the vaccine. It was a guy from Ghana, an enslaved person in Massachusetts, in the Massachusetts East Coast area of New England, that his name was Onesimus, who introduced what they call inoculation, what they call vaccine, because of the smallpox epidemic in that space of Northern America, where he saw the practice back home where you would have taken an acacia and you would have pricked yourself with that by that particular illness, disease, virus, and to bring about what has become vaccine. Well, look how the vaccine has been weaponized and used against Onesimus's people, group of people, let's say, if you want to put it in groups. Likewise, the GMO food and, the way food, and I spoke about food and, the flour food and, things of that nature. That is not compatible to the body. It doesn't supplement the body in the way how the solar, we're enjoying a good green light sunlight today, the solar plexus in the body would benefit from the intake of what we eat to complement it and so forth and so forth. But that is how the body is made up.
Yeah.
The inner and the outer, the microcosm and the microcosm. So all of this here is a testimony to what we're saying, and that there speaks volume to that video you played there, speaks volume to we as a people,
that audio,
whether we
audio,
have children or not.
That audio, I only
innate
play the
in us.
audio, I don't play video.
We are not that of nature.
Yeah.
It might have come out in our children where our children would not understand, the parent-child relationship and will act rash and would act irrational so that we would be taken aback as parents. But yet we still have to persevere because we are the parents.
And I want Africa, I keep saying to you and to Journey and to whomever, whenever we must also be clear, because I don't want, when you say parent, children, I want you to be clear. What you really are saying is the white man or the Caucasian must understand that they are from us. They are our children. Yeah, they may be spoiled, they may be irrational, they may be up in their feelings, but they came from us. That is what you're saying. Because when you say parent children, they might be taking it just on the merits of family, parent, but that is what you're referring to.
Yes, all the nations, all of the nations. But not only that, the Caucasian race, they're the youngest branch of the tree.
That's it.
I'm using a tree analogy again. You have the mature body, and Bob Marley said it succinctly. Some are leaves, some are branches, but I
are the root.
Are the roots. You understand?
Yeah.
So there are different analogies. You see, I'm not here to spoon feed anyone. I'm here for to raise our level in terms of our grasping the concept of the logic, and we're doing analogies to bring it down so that it can be more palatable.
But sometimes
I am applying what a doctor will apply as a medicine.
Yeah. But sometimes we still have to do a little spoon feeding. I hear what you're saying, but
yeah, so true. Yeah, it's not that it's rule out. We're not showing the baby away with the bath water.
Yeah.
But that's not the thing, because everyone has to stand on his own 2 feet.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, so we're going to take a bit of a commercial break. But before I take that commercial break, I'm going to play this clip again because, and occasionally now and again you might hear me play this clip, because let's take it into the context of where we're speaking of this new bill and the Sustainability Act and what they are purporting, and this thing where in so-called investors want to come and be segregated. Why segregation? Why is it that it's always us against them, them against us, when we have never had it that way? Why you want to come into our little countries that are just 68, 30-something square miles, some of us, and you still want to segregate? Why? It hasn't worked up in your big metropolitan cities. Why you want to bring it here? Just to prove that you're different and you have money and you can... No, well, we really don't want it. And we do not understand why our leaders are open to allowing it. Yeah, we live in a democracy. But I think you should be able to say, okay, if that is what you really want to bring, maybe you could take it to one of those bigger places. We think we're too small to be practicing that kind of thing. So I want you to again listen to this clip.
I would say I am really, really proud of my ancestors. I've traveled the world as a black man, and I have never seen a black country where the people who live in it are foreigners that were brought there by blacks as slaves. Not one single country. Yet the black race has more countries on earth than any other country. 54 are on the continent. 13 black countries in the Caribbean. So 68 black countries. There's not a single black country where slaves were bought from outside by black people. I've traveled the world. Not a single country in the world colonized by a black country. There's nowhere you go on Mother Earth where the language they are speaking was imposed on them by force by a black country. I've traveled the world and I've never seen a religion that is imposed upon anybody anywhere in this world by a black country. The 68 black countries in the world, the largest continent by number of countries, not a single one of them has a nuclear weapon of mass destruction. Black countries across the world, none of them is responsible for what we call the military complex, where we are manufacturing dirty bombs and sending things into the water to pollute people. I've traveled the world and I'm yet to see one product that was forced to be sold in another country by a black country. So it means the black race is the only race on earth that represents what the United Nations have been looking for the last 100 years, peace. Yes, we fought internal wars just like anybody, and that is all we did. Therefore, in my travels, there was no place I went on earth where the people there pointed fingers at me and say, your people did this to me. Never. The black person is the only one who travels this earth and no one will point a finger. That's what my ancestors left behind.
That's what our ancestors left behind. A history that we traveled the world long before Columbus. Now you find the Russians open their vaults and you see their history show black people in their roots. The Iranians open their vaults. You see black people in their roots. The Chinese, you see black people in their roots. And none of them, under none of them, have we imposed our will until the Europeans decided to colonize the rest of the world. And this is what we as a black people must be aware of. And stop being ashamed of who you are. Stop being ashamed of the color of your skin, your kinky hair. Stop being ashamed that your roots stem from Africa, because it is a history to be proud of. It is the only history that has not exploited our or any of the other races. I'll take a bit of a commercial break, and I'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
More than 42 million cars from 19 different car companies are being recalled for faulty airbag inflators. Repairs are fast, easy, and free. The problem isn't with the airbag, it's with the airbag inflator. Because the inflator can rupture, shooting shrapnel through the airbag, which can cause serious injury or even death. Don't risk it, fix it.
Please contact TDC Automotive Division to find out if your Toyota vehicle is affected by the Takata airbag recall. Visit or call us at 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis.
And I'm back with you, and we've got about 20 more minutes before I'm out of here, and it has been a rather interesting discussion from the time we started this morning on Island Tea, and we've carried it over until now. Hello, good day.
Hi, good day, sir. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, I'm back again.
And I'm glad you're back, because I was saying I got a call from one of your colleagues, it seemed, and they were accusing me of things, and I told them to speak with you because you and I had a rather amicable conversation, and they were accusing me of saying that your leader was dictatorial and so forth. But I told them to ask you, because I told them, I said to you, it is alleged, and yes. So thanks for.
And you asked me a question, and I told you that at all.
Yes, I told that person so. Yeah.
And I told you that when it comes to leadership, leaders have to make tough decisions.
Yes.
Even though they might have advice and so forth, the best advice, especially when it comes to politics, is not what the person is going to give you, but is what you could receive for the interest of the country and of the people.
That's it.
However, what I call back for is to clarify something.
Yes.
When I mentioned about the size of the land in Canada, the reason why it came into this perspective is that the Canadian federal government came into play to ask why you want so much land.
Yes, I understand that. I understood
The
that.
was trying to bring there is that they have so many land, and still that piece that might be seem as if a small piece for them. They still wanted to know why do you want that amount of land.
Yes, I understood that.
And so it is for us now to realize if we are the seller, we could control what we sell.
I agree.
And so I just want all of us to understand, even when you have to look at and we have to be careful. And like I said before, the government manages the resources for our people.
Yes.
Because even when you have to look at it, once upon a time, a lot of people may not know. Access to the beaches was a problem.
Yeah.
And if you continue building hotels, and they keep taking lands going down to the beach, we have an issue. We become like a landlocked people.
Yes.
And it is for the government of the day to ensure that our people still remain free to access these things, because there's no private beaches in our country.
Yeah.
But if we don't have like I said, yes, it's okay to say we have open space to the beach, but I believe, access to the beach, but I believe open space where I could park my vehicle, I could sit in. We used to play football on the beaches, and if the lands are government lands, we could control how we sell. We do not have to sell right down to the coastline.
I agree. I agree 100%.
So what I'm saying is that give the people action movement that opportunity again, and you will see the difference, because before time we never used to have these conversations.
Yeah.
The people actually were managing things to make sure the people benefit, and things are done in the interest of the people, and the people could feel the wealth and their development. But somewhere along the line, we have lost focus, and we come off the rail a bit.
Well, in the interest of making sure that we give accurate history, I agree with what you say in terms of the People's Action Movement. But we should never forget that Bratcher, one of his things was that you can't come here, no matter who you are, where you're from, you can't come here and decide that you're going to seal off the beaches, and he was adamant on that too.
And that is why the People's Action Movement, with that wisdom, took what he said, because we believe everyone make a contribution.
Yes.
And that is why it is there that there are no private beaches in our nation.
Yes.
So we didn't neglect that. We didn't forget it. But what I'm saying, we enforce it and we even make it better.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the line, we have lost our way. And the People's Action Movement is here and here to stay, to make sure that the people benefit, our nation benefits, wealth are developed in our country for our people and those who live here, our citizens. If you look around the world, our land is our natural resource. People who have gold, you look at what Abraham True and these persons do, they're taking their gold because that's their asset.
Yes.
Do we have gold? No. Do we have oil? No. At least not as far as I know, because they might have oil in our country, but we do not know. We have to search and investigate for it. But what I'm saying, at the same time, these are resources that we shouldn't let go that easy, because sometimes easy go, hard to get back. If you get it back, it will be more expensive to get back.
Yes.
And the People's Action Movement is here to let people know, hey, we have their interest. We are about the people, the interest of the people. I know there are a lot of young persons who have never experienced the People's Action Movement government. Yes, they might have experienced it within Team Unity, but at the same time, the person who was controlling the prime ministership was not someone from the People's Action Movement. And as you know, the prime minister has a very controlling effect. But when we had the prime minister from the People's Action Movement, things were in the interest of the people and the nation. And that is what we want to bring back, and even better, to make sure every single person, every national contribute to the development of our nation.
And caller, let me interject here too, because I've been listening to a program over on Nevis where the individual speaks about a bridge from St. Kitts to Nevis, and he always, up to last evening I think, and he played a piece where he said that the only persons who spoke on a bridge between St. Kitts and Nevis was, and then he plays a piece with Denzel Douglas. And that is not true. That is not a fact, because the first I heard about a bridge between St. Kitts and Nevis was that leader of the People's Action Movement. And even just before he lost in the election, that was one of the things he was speaking about, that we want to get a bridge between St. Kitts and Nevis, and that was the Honorable Kennedy Simmons.
My friend, I must let you and the nation know it is still a policy of the People's Action Movement because we believe in a united St. Kitts and Nevis. Look at all the United States. They have the bridge connecting different states because what happened, they make economics easier and the both islands prosper differently because you know what? It will be easier now for that connection for persons to transport things easier because the population of St. Kitts is bigger than that of Nevis. So imagine it's easier now for the different merchants and so forth to get things over. You realize what happened? Economic boom.
Yeah, that's it.
The business people in St. Kitts, like I said, is bigger. So the Nevis now have a bigger and easier market to get things into St. Kitts. No longer that barrier. So what happened? The entire nation of St. Kitts and Nevis prosper economically and the cultural ties because now when I and you want to go for island-wide drive, we now go to a federal drive because we drive over St. Kitts, we drive over the bridge, and we drive over Nevis, and we come back without waiting for anyone.
Yes.
So what I'm saying, that's a People's Action Movement idea, and it is still there. And God be with us. We will put the mechanism in place. We may not be the one who finish it, but at least we're going to start. Just like with the Southeast Peninsula.
Yeah.
Just like with the foundation that we have built economically for St. Kitts, that even with Port Zanta, we're still benefiting.
Yes, yeah.
People's Action Movement with partnership with the Nevis Island Administration. We don't know who because they have to be involved to ensure where the bridge is going to land. Because it's very important to know where it's going to land. And having a bridge could have so much touristic, gains from it.
It has a lot of value, vast amount of value, yeah.
Yeah, but look, if you look at most bridges, if you have to look at, just go to most countries where you see they have the bridge, you realize what at the beginning, at the base of the bridge, you normally what you see there?
Yeah.
You normally see some kind of business establishment, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, it's not just the bridge. There will be business opportunities for people who want to have businesses located right there. And therefore, I just want to say, we have to manage our lands. And I use Canada because Canada is so vast, but their government still question, why do you want that amount of land?
Yeah.
For what purpose? How are we going to benefit us? You understand where I'm coming from? And therefore, any large size of land, we should have concern about why is that. Because if we continue doing that, we're going to go back just like how we started.
Yeah.
Our people will have no access to nothing.
Yeah,
and as a People's Active Movement, we think first of our people to make sure our people benefit and enjoy the place of their birth and have full control of it. Yes, it's good to have business come, but if we could lease as opposed to sell, even let's say, for example, the Fort Thomas Hotel, I heard it's going to be a museum, a Caribbean museum, but I prefer St. Kitts Nevis Museum because what happened? A lot of our people have no knowledge of our history.
But caller,
in the history book, we keep about Caribbean history, but what about the history of our country?
Caller, I disagree with this part about Fort Thomas, some foreigner coming here to put down a history. No, why can't we do that?
That's what I'm saying.
Because it took, remember Sanford, a lot of people conveniently forget Sanford. I don't know what kind, say what you want about the man. Remember when he came here, and I believe that he was pulled down simply because he tried to elevate black people. Because he came, and for the first time we heard about a Caribbean museum for Caribbean cricketers and all that kind of stuff. And I could remember thinking to myself, like, okay, so we couldn't get together and do that?
I catch your point, and that is why I'm saying the People's Action Movement have the people keep thinking, keep trying to push our history, our people. I have no problem if they want to be a museum, but as you said, it should be locally based.
Yes.
But at the same time, the history should be first and foremost that of St. Kitts and the Nevis. Our story must be told.
Yeah.
If you check all the history books, seldom you only hear about the bigger nation, the bigger countries.
Well, I say that
history must be told to our people.
I say
so
that
people could recognize we are strong
I say
and powerful people.
I say that all the time because I'm a student of history, and recently I think it was Sylvian who was asking me certain questions, and when people ask me certain questions about the history of my own St. Kitts Nevis, I'm not too affair on it. But yes, still I know the history of this and that and Africa and all over the place, but I don't know
That's
much
my
about my own
so a lot
history.
of
So
persons know more history, maybe even Jamaica and those bigger Caribbean
Yeah.
islands and the more history.
you're
The
right.
United States. Some of them know all the presidents of the
Yeah.
United States, but not one of them know our last, let's say, premier and our last chief, what you name? Chief administrator.
Yeah.
They do not know that. They did not even know St. Kitts was even administered from Antigua.
Yeah.
That is where our administrator was in Antigua. That is why we had some people talk about the Brian Clause and all these kind of things, but it's because at the same time we were administered under the Leeward Islands and it was from Antigua, so it was like one movement what we're talking about now. But now we're an independent country, we have to focus on our people.
Yeah.
Okay? And what I'm saying is that we have to know our history.
We have
I have
to,
no problem. We have a museum already. What's the problem with the museum?
you know.
So these are questions we could ask. Even the hotel, it could be another hotel, but as opposed to sell it, we could lease out the management side of it.
And I agree with Sylvian that a hotel
Marriott has an owner, but you have people managing. What I'm saying, we have to think business-wise.
Yeah.
We have to think our own because you know what? If I lease you something, I must get it back in the future. But if I sell it to you, there's no guarantee I will be able to buy it back from you. At least not for the same price.
And I agree with Sylvian wholeheartedly. A place like Fort Thomas Hotel, it is a historical site. Why you want to be talking about lease with the option to buy?
That's a historical place. We should keep these things. If you go to most countries, historical areas remain historical areas. I don't know if you've been to, man, it's just like a tight tongue right now. Because when you travel other countries, bigger countries than us, these historical places, they make sure they create even laws to make sure it is very difficult to get rid of them.
That's it.
And we do not have much land, as I said, and we have to treasure what we have. Sometimes people treasure things when it's gone. I know we like to use this term when it comes to relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend and husband and wife, but it also comes with nations, lands. It's only when it's gone you realize what I have done.
Yeah.
It already departed from you. You can't get it back that easy.
Okay, caller.
And therefore, we shouldn't let our lands go so easy. And I just like to say, we have to make sure our history is. When it comes to our history, I do not see political lines. Our history must be told.
Yeah, we should not see
Because
political lines.
From Bradford come right down to Douglas, to everybody.
I agree.
Our history, and we have to be honest.
Yes.
Our father of independence is the Right Honorable Dr. Kennedy Simmons, because when we were getting independence, Nevis was going to go just like Anguilla, but because of Simeon Daniel and Dr. Kennedy Simmons, we were able to maintain the Federation to create a Muslim, to create the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And this history I'm talking about that must be told. Our people have to understand this.
Yeah, we have another caller. I want to end with this. We are fast approaching time, and we have a caller waiting. So I want you to wrap up so that the caller can, make a statement.
Yes, so thank you very much for giving me this time. I just want to say God bless St. Kitts and Nevis. God bless Constitution 7. God bless the People's Action Movement.
Okay, take care. Caller, thanks for your patience.
Yes. One of the things that I think we have to do, we're very reluctant to do it, but we need to do it. Listening to Mr. Pell, he sounds very nostalgic. Just now and when he called earlier this morning, okay, he gave the impression that the Constitution was something that did not need changing.
Yes.
That's the first thing. Okay? As far as he's concerned, it's still the best thing for us. And secondly, the tenure of the People's Action Movement by itself, that 15-year tenure, had elements in it that were distasteful as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, right? And he's not...
So in other words...
To me, you should have atonement.
So in other words, it had its good and it's had its bad.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Exactly. right? And to be just nostalgic about the good is not good enough, right? Because I would say the uproar in '93 really should not have happened, and it was a function both of the Constitution, a bad Constitution, as well as the application of that Constitution that allowed that.
But Mr. McMahon, this is where historians and people like you and I come in, because you don't expect that he's going to come and tell us the bad things, and the same the Labour
Well,
Party
if
is going to,
if
and
he's
the
an
Labour.
honest politician, he will.
Well,
wouldn't he?
have you really seen where have you seen much honest politicians? Hold a second, we have another caller. Don't go anywhere. Hello, caller.
Hello, Quint.
Yes, good
Thank
day.
you for taking my call.
Yes.
Quint, the handicap that we have in these islands is that our people, and you talked about it earlier, don't know enough about our history. We know the history of everywhere else in the world, but
Yeah.
our own history.
Yeah.
And the people that are coming come armed.
Yes.
They do their homework
They do
long
their
before they
homework.
come.
Definitely.
They have the people here on the ground who are feeding them information.
Yeah.
They know exactly what they want, and they know who to jiggle.
Yeah.
They know where the weak spots
They
are.
know it. You're putting it. You're putting it precisely.
Or they absolutely know where the weak spots are. Quite frankly, they have already been here and have spoken to some of the same persons. They come back under a different frame, a
Yeah.
different name,
Yeah.
a different person.
Yeah.
And so that is what our handicap is. So when they come with their gimmicks, they're way ahead of us.
Way ahead of us.
They're way ahead of us. And with no disrespect to anyone, quite frankly, I'm not sure that many of our leaders know how to handle these situations.
That is what I'm
I've
saying.
always wondered to myself why government doesn't have a team of persons who advocate on their behalf,
Yeah.
who sit across the table from the business people and who work out, because a lot of the government ministers don't have that acumen.
No, they do not.
They know how to go and talk a lot of trash on a mic
Yeah.
to win an election.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty about running these islands, they don't know.
Yeah.
They
Absolutely
need a
right.
team to sit across the table and negotiate on our behalf and know exactly what we're negotiating for. That is where our handicap is.
Yeah.
What's been happening in Nevis is that we've had some people around here for maybe a year or two now, talking to people. We've actually been invited on phone calls to talk to them. And when you ask them, well, why are you buying these lands? What's the investment? They can't tell you.
Yeah.
Or they refuse to tell you. They tell you they don't know yet. They're working on certain things.
Imagine
Well,
that.
that's the first red flag.
Oh, you mean?
Why are we going to sell them our lands and do business with them if we don't know what they're doing?
You understand?
And to have a leader of an island or country say that they don't know about these people, Quint, there's a lot in the pistol more than the matter, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
And our people are being disrespected in a big way. No bill should go into any house before a town hall meeting happens to let the people know what is being proposed on their behalf.
Yes, especially of this
Excellent.
especially a bill of this magnitude.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Our forefathers, my grandfather, my father, and lots of other divisions, parents and grandparents, negotiated and purchased those lands so that their children and grandchildren could enjoy them long after they're gone, not for some man to come in here and decide what's going to happen with our country. It's quite frightening.
Yeah.
We will be told one day we all have to get off this island. Divisions need to wake up. Petitions need to wake up.
Yeah.
And the games that are being played, it needs to stop. It needs to stop. It's disrespecting our people, And we need to know. Yes, we put you in there, but we need to know what you're doing before you make that final decision.
Yeah.
You need, if you are afraid to let us know what you're doing, then that's the problem there in itself.
That's a red flag right there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Why are you afraid to let me know what you're doing and where is this going? Why? What is happening here in Nevis right now is maddening, and it can't happen.
Yeah.
It can't happen, Quinn.
Okay.
It can't happen. If Nevisians wake up, it cannot happen.
Yeah.
It cannot happen. Thank you for your time.
Okay. And Mr. McMahon, yeah, well put, well put. And I did hear that caller on a different program, and she called in and she said that she spoke with them because, they were trying to acquire land that passed down to her through her father, the lineage. And when she spoke, she's speaking from fact because she said they told her, well, we don't know yet. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? Hello?
Yeah, push the wrong button.
Yeah, push the wrong button.
Yeah, no problem.
I really thought I was speaking to you, then I looked down.
Yeah, I know. yeah. But all I kind of disagree with the point that was just made. Though. I feel just like how the caller and yourself and me, I assume we are all ordinary people.
Yes.
Can just by instinct see that there's something wrong in trying to sell a historic site like Fort Thomas.
Fort Thomas
is outrageous.
But Mr. McMahon, I'm glad you broached that because what are our leaders thinking? How daft do they think we are that they can get this one over on us?
It makes one speechless, really. Why they would be considering something like this. At the very least, and I'm not saying there can't be some kind of partnership where we retain the whole development.
Yeah.
But they have an input in if they want to put in what it is a museum of history of the Caribbean or whatever it is. Okay, that's fine. I mean, because really and truly, it's a nice spot with a good acreage.
Yeah.
And one of the main reasons, apart from the fact that it's a historic site, it was, I think, wasn't it the first hotel? Really major hotel.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Why would keep that and build other things? Probably build a convention center to help it prepare for itself.
So I want to be clear that I understand you. So you're saying, and if I'm understanding you right, I will agree with you. You're saying we control the infrastructure, but they can put something in there.
Right. They have a franchise. They can have a franchise.
I agree.
To run a museum.
I agree.
Those kinds of things.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
The whole site remains the property of St. Kitts and St. Kitts, right?
Yeah.
And not no investor.
Well, you can say St. Kitts and Nevis still because we're
okay. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
Okay, but not no investor from God knows where. With God knows what agenda.
Agenda, yeah.
And why the release that they put out, maybe it was just a trial balloon. Put it out there to see to get feedback. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that. But just the thought of doing it like this is offensive. It's really offensive.
Sylvine made a point, and may the Almighty Creator bless her soul, that she's still alive and she can still, make interactions. She made a point, and listen to this. We know that when you go around that coastline, how it's deteriorating, how it's coming to eat under the road. You're aware of that, right?
Yes.
So Sylvine brought up the point. She says, so what investor is going to come and spend all that money to put up a retaining wall going, you know how expensive that is going to be and those kind of things. And
so got to be getting something back.
You understand what I'm saying?
Believe it.
Yeah. That's a vast amount of input, and that's nothing to do with the hotel.
I don't know. You got to wonder what exactly is going on here, because, like I said, these things keep on happening.
Keep on
Right?
happening.
And you have to wonder if ordinary people like us can't see through the smoke screen. Why can't the leaders that we chose? I mean, what are they thinking? It can't be all about money. It can't be all about things on the table or campaign finance or those kinds of things. That's what I mean about not having an ideology and not being grounded
Yes.
and not being conscious.
Yeah.
It's only people who are completely immoral do things like that.
Yeah.
All right then.
Okay then. Take care. Let me see if I can entertain this final call. Hello, caller.
Yeah, Quint?
Yes.
It's me. Yes. Let me just lower the thing. Yes. We talk about how our leaders can't see and can't see that. Well, let me tell you, Quint. The Bible says bribes blind the eyes. And that is why I come back once again to the Bible when it tells us, make sure people who you pick as the leaders fear God and have a life track of rejecting bribes. You gotta be careful as to who you pick as your leader, because the Bible tells you bribes blind the eyes of man. I think he more specifically said the wise, but bribes blind the eyes.
Yeah.
So the Bible have a lot of wisdom. But you're way over time, so the other things I would like to say, but you're over time, so I'm going to run now quick, but that's the point I want to
there'll be another day, so.
Yes, by the will of God.
Yes.
But I think I made a very important biblical point.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So that's how we're going to end things for today. Thank you for your interaction. It has been good, and I would like it to keep like that, where you bring whatever it is that you feel should be vented, bring it to the fore. If there's something on my mind, I will bring it and see if you can indulge me. And if there's something in your mind, you bring it forward, and I will try my endeavor best to indulge you. Do take care. Continue to have not only a great day, but a great life.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
More than 42 million cars from 19 different car companies are being recalled for faulty airbag inflators. Repairs are fast, easy, and free. The problem isn't with the airbag, it's with the airbag